everybody? Welcome back to the Rant. I'm Rob. I got Josh and Jeremy with me this week. Say hi, guys.
Hi guys.
Hello.
We figured it was about time to do a special where we pointed out a few characters from video games that, well, we designate them as badasses, and we feel they deserve their dues. So, without further delay, that's where we're going today. We're going down the road of badassery. So, which one of you fine gentlemen would like to start us off?
I will let Josh go first.
All right, Josh. It's on you. If you'd like to tell us why you think they're badasses, like your definition of it, we'd appreciate that insight.
Well, I mean, my definition of badass is someone who can overcome impossible odds without using, like, an ex machina. So,
A sex robot?
what?
Whoa, we went down a weird road on that
You
one.
guys didn't see Ex Machina yet?
No, we've
I
seen
saw
Ex
it, yeah.
Machina, but there's lots of other terms that is used for on video games other than a fuck droid, but who knows? That could be the key to some dude being a total bass. Like, you know what? I just gotta have my sex android around. I just gotta have them around. With them around, I'm over the moon on awesomeness.
Anyway.
I chose some badasses who kind of don't have the spotlight in a lot of games. I think only one person on this list has actually been like the focal point of a game. Two. Just kidding, two. But I'm going to start off with one who's kind of in the background, and that is Chum Bucket from the Mad Max video game that came out in 2015. And Chum Bucket is a hunchback who fixes up cars like a freaking god, and he helps you through the game, upgrading your car, repairing your car in the middle of havoc, giving you great insight, and I think he also has sex with vehicles. But he's a very cool character. I really enjoy listening to his ramblings as he's fixing vehicles. And for some reason he calls you Saint because you drive cars so well, and he thinks that you are sent from the mechanical heaven to drive his vehicle and destroy the bad people of the wasteland. So he's really cool. He's got a great vibe to him, and he actually set up shop inside of a beached ship, which I thought was really cool as well. Badass.
All right, Jeremy, do you want to go next?
Sure. My
Alright.
first one is Eddie Gordo from Tekken.
Good choice. Good choice.
He is a master of all martial arts, and he makes it look effortless, and he has a, happy-go-lucky attitude when he needs to, but when it gets down to it, he can hang with anybody. And for me, knowing every version of Kung Fu is kind of badassy, so I figured I'd put Eddie Gordo on here because I figured either one of you would put him on. Plus, he's awesome, and he's the best fighting character of all time.
Of all time?
Hardcore endorsement there on Mr. Gordo. True, I wouldn't have added him to my list, but mostly I tried to stay away from fighting games a little bit. But you are correct. The character is a really badass character, and they always do have him with that like nonchalant attitude, which just adds to the badassery.
Whenever I think of Eddie Gordo, I also think of the end of the first Matrix, where Neo first believes he's the one, and he's just kind of effortlessly blocking all of Agent Smith's attacks and all of that. That's how I feel when I'm Eddie Gordo. I'm the one.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
always a good feeling to have when you're playing the fighting game, because then you don't feel bogged down by the nutcase that knows the 800 hit combo that you're trying to stand up to in an online match. All right. Are you done then? Should I go?
Yes, you can go.
Okay. My first character that I want to put on the badassery list, and people are gonna knock me for this, I know it, but Duke Nukem. The only reason I had any qualms about putting him on the list, to be honest, is I feel like the majority of his badassery just comes from the amount of steroids and alcohol he ingests. That was even one of the power ups in the last game. It's like pick up the steroids to kill anything in one melee hit, or pick up beer so that you get drunk and feel less pain. It literally said that in there. But all of that dumb shit aside, and like the creepy chauvinistic stuff that he constantly spews, the character does still save the entire planet from alien invasion like 4 times, like single-handedly. Like, the army gets ripped to pieces, but Duke just kind of walks in there and kills the king or queen of the aliens or whatever, and that's it. It's like, all right, you have to give it to him. The character is totally wrong for the era we're in, but he's still a badass.
He's got balls of steel.
Balls of steel.
That is what he claims, and he does have truck nuts, so.
And a badass flat top.
The classic flat top, the 1980s, yep. All right, Josh, back to you, sir.
The next one that's on my list is the people who play the game, they'll understand. But the next person I have is one of the civilizations from Civ 5, and the leader is Gandhi. And I know Gandhi's like a peacekeeper, and he's like all nice and stuff, but to the people who've played the game, he, as soon as you get to the era where you can make nuclear weapons, he will fuck you in the ass like no one's ever seen. Like, he'll be all friendly with you, he'll be trading with you, and then all of a sudden he'll be like, Gandhi has launched 7 nukes at you, and you're just dead. And he'll just sit there and laugh and smile with his creepy little smile, and he'll be like, it's all good, bro. Just walk it off. And the amount of power that I don't understand, like, it happens almost every time. I can literally count on my hands and feet how many times I've been nuked by him because I haven't beaten him by the time that era comes around. And he's quite the badass for just giving you the 1-2 punch, the sucker punch, pretty much, out of the blue.
That is a messed up statement. You're like, what's that? Gandhi nuked you?
That's awesome.
Holy shit. Holy cow. Oh, man. Back to you, Jeremy.
My next one is Axel from Twisted Metal.
Ah, yes.
Axel from... All right, you're going to have to refresh my memory
He's
on
the
that
dude who's strapped into the 2 giant wheels.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
He looks like he's in constant pain, but at the same time, he rolls around and just utterly destroys people with rockets. And I mean, how badass would you have to be like tethered to 2 giant monster truck wheels and roll around on the ground?
Very true, very true. Plus, he's
And in
like,
a game
open to all of the fire all the time, so it's like, give him the badass medal just for that.
And in a game full of like badasses, but with like a twist where they're like, oh, some of them have had like trauma and blah 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 blah. If I remember correctly, his backstory is that he's like voluntarily doing that. I can't remember that like completely off the top of my head, but I feel like he volunteered for that. I mean, that's just, I mean, come on,
It's the badass
None of us
award.
would do that. Yeah. Would you guys do that?
Probably not.
Yeah, I think I'm sick that day. I don't know. I have a doctor's note. Does any of that count? No, I would not do that.
I'm not gonna eat a rare burger, let alone tie myself to the 2 tires and drive around.
So yeah, he would be not. My list isn't in order, but like he's on my list.
Oh yeah, there's no order for mine either, right?
Yeah, there's no reason to worry about it. We kind of came to the consensus that all the characters we picked up are badasses in their own right, and to try and rank them would just be too difficult and too
A
time.
disservice to all of them.
Right.
Exactly. Are you done on your answer?
Yes.
All right. My next character that I picked for the badass list would have to be Nilin from Remember Me, because I feel like any person that literally goes from having their mind just scrambled digitally to fighting, nutcases in the sewer. Like, I feel like anybody that can recover that quickly from having their brain thrown in a blender has to go on the badass list. Because I don't know about you guys, but like if I get a really bad hangover, like that's it, I'm done. This the crap that they put that character through right at the beginning seems like a hangover that you've had for 10 years off of the shittiest like bathtub gin you could possibly drink. The kind of stuff that like Drano was the first ingredient when they made that liquor and you still have a hangover from it kind of deal. I feel like anybody that can walk that off that quickly needs the badass award. So that was my next one. Nilin from Remember Me.
Cool.
On to you, Josh.
Um, this next one might not be a badass like you guys have been talking about, or I have been talking about before that, but it's a character from, well, actually the main character from Life is Strange, and that is Max Caulfield, who is the lead female character for the game that you play as, and she can control and bend time. So if she fucks up something, she can reverse time and redo it. And as you play through the game, she becomes more and more of a badass through just learning and picking up new things. And throughout the whole game, she's solving a case of her friend's murder, who she actually saved, but then she has to keep solving it because she needs to find out who actually was trying to kill her. And by the end of it, she literally looks at a guy who's about to kill her in the face and says, "Take a picture of me." And it's a crazy game, and she's definitely a badass in my book.
All right, all right. I can get behind that. You know, if you stare down somebody who's about to kill you with, no real tweaks or fear in you, that's kind of badass.
I would give more information, but the game has spoilers from the get-go, and if someone on this group or on the line is going to play it, I want them to go in cold turkey because it's a brilliant and beautiful game.
Well, I do intend to snag it, so thank you for the non-spoiler version.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about that one.
Yep. Jeremy?
My next one is Luigi.
Okay.
Think about how badass Luigi is. He jumps higher than Mario. He runs faster than Mario. He never gets the girl. Nobody ever remembers him. He's always second fiddle. And what does he do? He just goes forth and wreaks havoc and gets shit done.
Very true, actually. Now that I think about it, like, he always does just put up with Mario's shit and help clean up Mario's messes, so...
And not to mention the fact that he's also a Ghostbuster.
True. Mario.
Oh yeah, there
Luigi's
was
Mansion.
that title where he had the Ghostbuster pack. Wasn't it like a vacuum thing though?
Yeah.
Like, didn't he suck ghosts up with it?
Yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
More or less. It's like better actually. You're skipping steps.
Might be
Yeah.
a coward, but he also beat Bowser single-handedly with a vacuum. So.
Yeah, there you go.
I still feel he deserves the medal just for putting up with Mario. Like, you fat fuck, you always get the girl, and I have to clean up when you get a hangover and puke on the floor. Fuck
That's
you.
because he's a badass.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Ever seen his
Give him
death
the medal
stare?
for that.
His death stare from Mario Kart 8 is pretty funny. Whenever you pass someone, he's just like, huh?
I think that's more like a just don't ever fuck with Luigi stare. Not the badass or death stare. It's just, something bad is coming.
So yeah, he's
Good
next
choice.
on my list.
Very
Yeah.
good choice. The next character on my badass list would have to be Alex Vance from the Half-Life series. Now,
Is
stay
he the
with
one with
me
the
on this.
glasses?
I'm sorry?
Is he the one with the glasses?
No. Alex Vance is the girl that you meet in
Oh,
Half-Life
okay.
2.
I've never played Half-Life.
Okay. Well, I figured this character has to be called a badass because of how the circumstances work out. Like in the first game, you're playing as Gordon Freeman, and he's an adult. He's like in his late 20s. He's graduated from MIT. He's got all the knowledge and stuff to pull off what you have to do in the game. But at that point in the timeline, Alex Vance is like a 10-year-old little girl. And then you skip a whole bunch of years from game 1 to game 2, and you figure anyone that has to grow up in the environment that they set up in the Half-Life game and comes out well-adjusted and happy has got to be a pretty big badass, because as everybody knows, that is a pretty screwed up environment for a child to grow up in. I mean, the little head crabs and stuff are on everybody. You've got the Combine, which are like an alien I don't know what the hell you really classify them as. They just kind of like take over the planet and nobody really knows why. They just know don't fuck with them. But the Alex Vance character is not a sociopath and not cowering in the corner. It's like a well-adjusted character who knows how to get shit done. So I figure give her the badass award. You know, because if I grew up in that kind of environment, I don't think I'd be as calm and collected half the time as that character is.
Okay.
Thoughts, either of you?
I've never played Half-Life either, so I don't. I
Oh,
don't know.
I stand alone on this field, and I am lonely.
One is the loneliest number.
The Half-Life games are good games. I don't think they deserve the sociopathic following that they get, but they're still good. Everyone should check them out if they get the chance.
Yeah, when there's a sale on Steam.
Exactly, exactly. I don't think anyone should go out of their way and like pay double the price for them or anything like that.
I
Like
got the
don't
Super Collector's Edition for $100.
exactly, exactly. If some little fucker on eBay is like, "Hey, I've got the Super Gold Edition of Orange Box. It's only $300." Tell him to go fuck off. All right,
Jeez.
back to you, Josh.
My next character is from Borderlands 2, and after the first half of the game, he kind of peters off, but his name is Sir Hammerlock, and he is one of my favorite characters in the game. He's a complete badass, and he has a really great mustache and facial hair combo.
That's
Uh,
very important.
he has lived through getting his arm ripped off by a bullymong and his leg being eaten, and he's funny. He's a very funny and good character, and I enjoy every second of doing his missions and listening to him just totally trash Claptrap.
He does do a lot of shit talking towards Claptrap. You have to give him that.
It's just too bad he kind of fades away in the second half of the game. I feel like he could have had a bigger part in the game than just the opening character you see, and he's kind of like a badass, and then you just kind of leave him behind at Sanctuary, and he stands in the corner for the rest of the game.
True, but he did get his own DLC pack.
And at least he gets to look at Moxie the whole time.
True, true. Real life incarnations of that character are pretty sexy, so not a horrible way to spend the game. Um, on to you, Jeremy.
Well, my easy one so far is Snake, and I think that's just enough said.
I'm glad you put him on there. I was gonna put him on my list, but I thought no, Jeremy will cover that one. He's got the solid Snake man.
Yep. I don't need to
Yeah.
say anything about Solid Snake. Everybody knows who he is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You have to admit it was a badass moment in the fourth game where he's like, "Oh wait, so I'm a walking disease time bomb. Can I have a cigarette?" Like that was his whole response.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, badass award given. Moving on. What do you think? Do you think he deserves the badass award, Josh?
No, I think he deserves a teddy bear. No.
Oh,
I really do enjoy his character, especially in the Phantom Pain. Very badass, very badassery. He pretty much has an arm in the fifth game that he can use as a rocket, and it will just fly around and punch people without him being. It's pretty badass. I used it once, and I was like, "This is insane," but I like it.
that is pretty crazy. You
Rocket
done then,
punch.
sir? Are you done then, Jeremy?
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I don't need to say anything about.
I don't know if you want to
Solid
throw a
Snake.
follow-up in there. I don't know how big your enthusiasm is at the moment. I can't physically see you, man. This is the internet.
Pulling the curtain back.
All right. My number two kind of ranked dude for me is Leon Kennedy from the Resident Evil series. And I put him on the list for one reason. The fourth Resident Evil game, he physically goes fist to fist with one of the dudes that already has like the crazy mutation powers that give him obscenely enhanced agility and speed. And he comes out with only a little tiny nick on his cheek during that whole fight. I think that screams badass because anybody that's done like the Krauser fight in Resident Evil 4 knows how much of a pain in the ass that is. I mean, that freaking character can dodge close range shotgun fire. Like he just sidesteps it. So the fact that Leon walks away from a knife fight with that character, I think that's impressive. I think that guy deserves an award.
Hell, Resident Evil
Anybody
4.
dispute that?
No, Resident Evil 4 is like a balls hard game. Like,
Yes, it was.
he definitely deserves the badass just for that game. Like, it was ridiculous. It's a great one though. It's a classic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ironically, the last one that the original creator of Resident Evil worked on before he parted from Capcom and they neutered the series.
Yeah, just goes to show you.
Now it's not a balls out series, it's a ball less series.
It's I get run over by trains more than I get killed by zombies in the sixth game.
Yeah. This was the hardest part I had in the sixth game was I tried the Ada Wong mission and I couldn't get through that first chunk right at the beginning in the submarine section with the guys, the endless biter mutant guys. They don't stop coming out of like cracks in the walls and shit. I didn't realize that and I kept trying to fight my way through it. That was the hardest part of it.
Yeah, there was a few scenes in there where you just had to kind of run past everything. You couldn't fight them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
It's the
why do
dumbest
this?
thing possible for Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, so scary, running away.
yeah, that's the terrifying shit. You can't look behind you anymore.
Mom?
All right. Back to you, Josh.
The next character on my list is from the Mass Effect series, actually from the trilogy, and his name is Garrus Vakarian, aka Archangel. Pretty badass character, voiced very well, has a lot of story, a lot of enthusiasm, and he has a lot of good quips when you're playing with him. And I know the third game is like my least favorite and probably everyone's least favorite, but he has some really good scenes in there, very good moments. And it just shows off how much of a badass is. He's like, hey, if you die and I die, let's meet at the bar. It's like, yeah, there you go.
I was willing to give him the badass award when, like, 10 minutes after his face is blown off in the second game,
No,
he's
you
like,
just-
dude, I'm ready for duty. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
let's go.
It's like, you realize one of your mandibles is hanging off by a thread, right? It's like, yeah, I'm cool. Let's do this.
Also, in
Like,
that-
got any morphine?
In that same level, he's facing off against 3 different mercenary groups who are sending grunts against him like nonstop. And he's just been like sniping them. He's like, nothing to do here. Puts his feet up. He's like, yep.
That is a good character for the badass list. On to you, Jeremy, sir.
My last one is my favorite character from the Resident Evil series. It's Claire Redfield.
Nice. Very nice. Good choice. Have to give that character the medal. Especially since, like, the second game opens with her just stumbling into the fucked up setting of Raccoon City. Like, it's been screwed up for, like, a couple of months, and she's cool. She knows
She
what
just
to
takes
do.
down the liquors and keeps on coming.
Exactly. You do have to give it to any character that
And
they
while
don't
wearing a
say
mini
has-
skirt.
I'm sorry?
And while wearing a mini skirt.
No. That's Jill Valentine that wears the miniskirt.
Oh, that's right. My bad.
It's all right. You're not too
I still
far
meant Claire
off. Like the
Redfield.
original costume for Claire Redfield is essentially like, booty shorts essentially. So I mean, still, she was not prepared for the fight, and yet she comes out on top. So
Just a
give her
bit.
the medal. I mean,
The games at this point are like a distant memory compared to the movies.
very much so.
Unfortunately.
I was not happy with who they picked to play Claire Redfield though in the movies. Like I felt like that actress doesn't exude like confidence and badassery. I feel like she just exuded bitchiness.
Yeah, well, all they cared about in those movies was Alice. So
Yeah. Really didn't care for that character all that much either. Resident Evil, fond farewell.
which Resident Evil movie is the best?
To be honest, I really like the first one. I feel like the first one did a really good job with a really small budget, and it was right after that they're like, hey, this made money, triple the budget, and make it nonsensical.
What do you think, Josh?
I've only played the 4th Resident Evil game, and I actually haven't played.
Movies.
I haven't seen any of the movies either. So,
Ah,
You never played the original ones?
No, I was going to, but then I lose track of time with a lot of things. I have lots of games I need to catch up on.
Hmm, interesting.
We all do. The stack just keeps growing. What about you? What's your favorite Resident Evil movie, Jeremy?
Um, I really like the fourth one. As
The fourth.
crazy as that sounds to
Um,
say,
is that the
the one
one
with
where
I
she
think that's
lands
the
like a plane on top of the building?
yeah, then with Wesker and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that one's great.
It did have some nice, really tense action moments that made it a decent flick. I did enjoy it.
And then I love me and my brother used to walk around after seeing the second one when oh what's his name? Mike Epps, I think is his name, when his character refuses guns and he pulls out those gold ones and he's like,
Motherfucker, my
shit's
shit is
custom.
custom.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
used to walk around saying that like all the time.
That is a really good scene. You do have to appreciate that.
My shit's custom.
Plus, you
Yeah,
have
that
to, you sort of have to give him a little bit of a badass reward too, because he was another one of those characters that was completely unprepared for the situation he was in, and he still survived.
except for his gold pistols, which aren't revealed till like the fourth act of the movie.
Yeah, yeah. Almost feel like he looted those from a store at some point. 'Cause, I mean, he was driving around running over zombies for fun when they introduce him. So,
It's true. Well, yeah, he's my last person on my list. Those are my five.
nice, good choices, good choices, and some classic old school ones, which is nice. I feel like the majority of characters on my list are fairly new to the gaming and the gaming world.
Well, to be
Mine
fair,
too.
until like 20 years ago, I mean, what were video games? You know what I mean?
Very true.
They're
Very,
side-scrolling adventure games,
yeah.
basically.
I mean, Duke Nukem originated back in like '92 on the PC, but there was like no story to it at all. It was literally like a Sega Genesis title. You read that like one little paragraph that's 3 sentences long at the
Oof.
beginning, and that's the whole synopsis. That's all you got. And
Are you saying Sega games didn't have any substance to them?
we're talking about a gray area here, man. They had like 3 megs of storage for all of the crap in there. I don't blame them for summing up the story with 3 sentences.
Streets of Rage, man.
Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage. Yeah. Save the girl, but then kill your brother.
Yeah, exactly.
That one was just painful.
All right, Streets of Rage or Double Dragon, which one's better?
Oh, that's a tough call. They were so similar. I think it was the third Streets of Rage game where you could play both sets of characters.
I think so.
I did like that one. I remember renting that a whole bunch of times from this little video store that no longer exists. It was called Video Town. They used to have like I think it was like the Tuesday dollar rental special for video games. Like go in, throw $1 down, you get a game for a week. I miss those old days.
Yeah.
That was like $20. You get it for 3 days. All right. Should I go then?
Yeah.
No. Never end the show.
Oh, that's hard. Well, I suppose we could do that, but I think I'll run out of hard drive eventually. All right, my last official member of the badass list, and this takes a tiny bit of explaining. Kidman from the Evil Within game that came out about a year ago. Now, I do have to throw up the warning. I have to explain a tiny bit of spoilers from the DLC. So, anybody that hasn't played that, I'm sorry, you've been warned. Kidman, you don't learn a whole lot about her in the main.
Oh, that wasn't it.
No, no, that wasn't it. Terrific timing, by the way. I was
That was
was
pretty
just
perfect.
oh, I was blown away by that loud gasp. You don't learn anything about the character in the main story, essentially. She kind of like just pops in at weird intervals for cutscenes and then is like whisked away or whatever you want to call it. So the DLC explains all of this shit that she's doing when you don't see her. And essentially, it comes down to she's working for this other corporation that wants the technology and wants to stop the main bad guy from having his way with it. And midway through the DLC, even knowing that she's in this like nightmare brainscape that she has no influence over and the corporation and the bad guy does, even knowing that, she decides to do the right thing and put herself in between the corporation and the bad guy and the one character that's actually innocent that everybody's trying to use and exploit. I think knowing exactly how bad things can get and still deciding to do the right thing, I think that's a pretty badass choice that the character makes, even though like the character really doesn't have that awesome skill set that you usually see. Like I certainly would not bet on the Kidman character surviving like a fight with Solid Snake or something like that. I really wouldn't. I think even Nilin would beat the shit out of Kidman, and Nilin just has like some basic martial arts background or something. But still, you get what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's a pretty badass choice to stand up, even knowing how bad things are gonna get for you. You
Yeah.
guys get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's my last pick for the official top five list. Then is Kidman from The Evil Within.
Cool. Good
Um,
list.
yeah. I feel it was pretty rounded. I think we made some solid
We
choices.
did. Hey, none of us like matched anybody either.
Oh, that's good.
Very true. There was no overlap. Like I said, I was really close to putting Solid Snake on my list, but I was like, no, Jeremy's got that one. I know he does.
Yeah.
I just forgot about him, to be honest.
Jeez. Well, Snake forgot about you too.
That's right. Snake doesn't need your pity, man. Snake's gonna go jerk off while on mission and then have a cigarette.
With barbed wire in his hand.
Oh, ow! Why would you go there?
Because he's a badass.
That's not badass. That's just insane.
I thought
That being
about
said, he'd
being-
probably fucking do it because he's.
I thought about being like a tool bag and being like, Conor McGregor because he's in the UFC game,
John
and
Cena.
Brock Lesnar, and John Cena, yeah, stuff like that. But I decided not to be a dick.
Ah, thank you. Are there any,
Batman.
Batman. Just pull out the Batman.
I mean, technically, you could have said Batman because of the Arkham trilogy.
yeah, it was too obvious though.
There's a lot of characters we all
Well,
could.
Solid Snake
on
is
lists.
obvious.
Not obvious to me.
I guess not. That's a good point. Yeah. Nobody had Laura Croft.
Well, she's on my honorable mention list.
Yeah,
The reason
let's go
she
over
didn't
some
get
honorable
to the-
mentions.
Brock Lesnar, John Cena.
4 hours later, the original cast of blah blah. All right, who wants to start us off with the honorable mentions?
I got like 2 or 3.
All right,
only got
hit it,
two.
man. What are your honorables?
I mean, I got John Marston from Red Dead Redemption, Cowboy Badass. I got Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day,
Yeah.
fucking badass.
That's classic.
And oh crap, what was that last one? Shit. Jeez. Damn it. Next.
We can come back.
My 3 were Laura Croft, Ryu, and Scorpion.
Okay. Why didn't
If
you
I
put
have to
Scorpion
tell
on
you
the
what
full
any of those people's games were, then you should just hit stop on whatever device you're listening this to and just go away.
list? How come you didn't put Scorpion on the full list?
I don't know. I like the other people better.
Fair enough. Fan favorite is a good reason to put him on the subtitle list. Did you remember your other one, Josh?
Not yet. You go
All right.
ahead.
I
Batman.
actually have like 4 honorable mentions. Laura Croft, we already mentioned, but I didn't put her on the main list because I feel like a good portion of her badass level just comes from the fact that she seems to always know how to use these crazy, powerful, mystical relics. Like Tomb Raider Legend, you get Excalibur, and she just like instinctively knows that you can swing it and kill everything. I mean, granted, legends and all that, but still, I feel like it's a little bit of a cheat. Let's see. I also had Raiden from the Metal Gear series. Well, from Metal Gear Rising specifically, but again, I didn't put him on the full list because Cyborg. I feel like again a little bit of a cheat is like he doesn't have to stop running because he's hot or winded or anything, and yeah, yeah, I feel like it was a cheat. Even though he is a badass, I feel like it was a cheat.
You're a goddamn cheater.
You're a cheater, Raiden. You're a fucking cheater, and I'm glad that guy
And you have a
pissed on you in
stupid
the second
hat.
game. Stupid hat. Lightning from the Final Fantasy series, I thought she's pretty badass because at the very beginning of the first game, she just immediately kind of starts a small war with the little security, I guess, agency you could call it. You know, it's just her against all of them. But again, I had to remove the character from the list because when you go to the second and third game, she crosses into that I'm no longer human, I'm closer to a god kind of thing. So, cheating. And my last one is Liara to Sony.
Ah.
I feel like any character that goes from dead weight in the first game to actually being able to stand with Shepard and defend wave after wave by the third game, which there's only like I think a 5-year span in there. I feel like anybody that can go from dead weight to, valuable character in that short a time frame, I feel like they kind of have earned the right to maybe be called a badass. The only reason I didn't put her on the full list is because I feel like anybody that's born with crazy biotic mental powers, like born with them from day one, I feel like how could you not become a badass eventually, Like, I can pick up a tank and throw it with my mind. How could you not get good with that at some point? So, well, those are my honorable mentions. Josh, come on. Did you remember your last one?
I did.
Ah!
My last one is from Fallout 3/4. Not a human. It is dog meat.
Oh, did not see that one coming.
Dog meat runs into the battle. He don't give a fuck.
You are correct, sir. You are correct. Every time I've taken dog meat out as my companion character, he fucking runs at the tank.
He will bite it until it bleeds, and then he will keep biting it until it's dead. I love dog meat. In Fallout 3,
gets wounded, and I have to use a stim pack on him.
well, in Fallout 3, he was a lot better. He wouldn't go down as often, and I liked him better in that game. But this one, he's okay. He can fetch stuff for you. I guess it's a badass talent.
He does always find
Fetch is a
items
badass talent.
But yeah, when the amount of damage he can sustain while charging at enemies, and he's just a dog. I mean, it's a badass status.
Very true. And also the animal you don't want to get between when he's hungry.
True. I was gonna say the giant wolf in Dark Souls who grabs the sword out of the ground.
Oh God!
I felt like that would have been overkill though.
Yeah, just a touch, just a touch. I mean, it is the size of what, like a Piper airplane, so it's not a small creature. Plus the giant friggin' broadsword that it picks up and swings around. It's like the ninja dogs from the Shinobi remake on the PS2, except amped up on crystal meth. All right. So that has been the Rant's top 5 badass list. Let us know in the comments if you agree with our choices or disagree. And also, don't forget to check
disagree.
out all of our... Yeah, we'd prefer you don't disagree, but still, we'll accept constructive criticism.
You guys are
with
gay.
control. Don't forget to check out the other stuff on the Rant channel. We have the Versus series, 5-minute reviews, gameplay streams. Don't forget to follow Jeremy on Twitter. What's your Twitter handle again, sir?
At Jeremy, Ohio.
There. Follow him. And don't forget to check out Josh's Opinion, Josh's channel. Josh, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody a little bit about that?
Josh's Opinion is my channel, of course. I have podcasts on there. I have video game reviews, YouTube haikus, gaming clips, gaming series, and I actually have a new cartoon in the works that I'm working on, animated by my fiance and voiced by me. So
Nice.
look out for that next week. A lot of
And
hard
also
work put into it.
Nude videos with peanut butter.
What?
I don't know. I I just saw something flash across my screen that said nude videos with peanut butter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I
I
don't know where it
don't know
came
where to
from. I
go
was just
with
passing it
that.
along.
Thank
Or to
you.
even question where that came from. I feel a little nervous
I
now.
I don't know because I'm on Yahoo.
Oh wow. That's wow, Yahoo, you have fallen. Uh, Jeremy, do you want to tell the listeners about the other podcasts you are on?
Sure. If you like comic books, I'm on a comic book podcast weekly on Mondays called The Comic Book Nerd. Me and my co-host Eric go over all of the mostly Marvel releases from that week because let's face it, DC's terrible right now, and we also talk about a lot of independent stuff, especially Image Comics. So swing on by. Starting in 2 weeks on the same channel, I will be hosting the Collecting Nerd with my co-host Aubrey, where we're going to talk about action figures and all kinds of junk you can collect. And I also on Sunday mornings, I think they are releasing it on Tuesdays now. Record a Star Wars Rebels review show called Hanging with Team Kanan with Katrina Dennis and Jonah Marie Marseilles. If you like Star Wars Rebels, you should listen to it because we're hilarious.
Nice. Very nice. Well, that's all of our plugs. Oh, wait. One last one. Don't forget to check our official Twitter feed at the Rants TW for new episode postings. This has been the Rant. I'm Rob. With me is
We don't know what order to go in. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Josh.
really didn't matter what order, but you guys still did it. 5 seconds of dead time is all right. This has been the Rant. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.